Good evening, class. It's Professor Puente, and I'm with one of your students, Kelly Collins. How you doing, Kelly?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? How's
Good.
everybody there?
Great. Thank you so much. We had some technical difficulties tonight, but Kelly decided to make a last-minute decision, which I thought was genius. What was your decision that I thought was genius?
We were having trouble finding each other on Skype, so I looked up the name and added everybody out there and waited for a response.
So I like how you came to that conclusion, by the way. You said, look, there's all these Will Puentes, so I'm going to send an invite to all the Will Puentes. We may have 4 or 5 on Skype, and I got it. So, and it worked last minute. Very quick thinking, very, very good. I'm impressed because that sometimes that's what you need out there. People with creativity, right?
Thank you.
What do you
work? We'll make it work.
Of course. Kelly, what do you do?
What do I do for a living?
Yeah. You could say student if you like.
I'm a student, and I also work in the dental profession as a prosthodontic fabricator technician.
Oh, perfect.
With crowns, bridges, custom abutments, implants, any permanent fixture, restoration to the mouth, medical devices.
Got it. Okay. What brings you to our class? Are you trying to get an associate's?
I'm going back and working on my degree. Yes.
Good. What's your end goal? What do you plan to be at with your degree?
Well, I'm actually interested in changing professions, and I'd like to get into the infrastructure industry.
Okay. All right.
I'm working on my business administration.
Okay.
With a focus on entrepreneurship.
Good. And these are all important fields. I'll tell you, infrastructure is big, especially with the government. They really are going to be pushing that soon. And I think you're in the right path. Absolutely. And in the right state for it. So what brought your attention to that level, to that sector?
Well, I'm a mom. My daughter's a senior in high school. I had to choose a profession that allowed me to be an on-hands mother, or at least I thought I did.
Okay.
So I stuck with the dental industry and didn't change careers up until this point. And now I'm going to transition over.
Got you. Okay. Well, congratulations, and thank you for having you in the class and for signing up to be a guest lecturer. And really, what will happen is that I'll go through and ask you a few questions about what you do or what you plan to do, and it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward, and especially what the class is. Jake says Houston's also a great place for that, and he's thinking infrastructure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you just go down 45 and you see so many exits being built, so many bridges being built, and you're like, wow, I think you'll be absolutely set. So good decision on that, to be in the right area for that. So and so I want to talk a little bit more about the actual D2L, and you can't see this, Kelly, but I'm showing everybody our D2L. Remember, it's module based. I do want to remind you guys, module based. They're all based on the lecture video, the one I'm recording right now as we speak. Please remember that this video is being watched. Oh, let me do one thing. Probably need to share the screen. There we go. Okay, so now you should be able to see the screen, my screen. I apologize. This is the D2L. This is D2L. And what you see is that there's a module that is due Monday night. Now, this Monday night, there is no quiz this week. So good job, guys. You don't have nothing to worry about. I heard you guys speaking a little bit about worried about it. First of all, let me tell you, there's always going to be a fix to a problem. If there's a quiz that's not out there that I said was out there, I wouldn't be one of those professors to give you an F for not taking the quiz that you couldn't find. So don't worry about it, right? So understand that I'm very reasonable. There's no quiz this week. Next week there will be a quiz. This is usually due about 11:59. So today there is no quiz review either because there's no quiz. But we're also preparing for the next module, next speaker, right? As we go, you'll see that I'll post things on D2L to, to talk about items. I try not to use email only because email on D2L is a little more difficult. And I don't use Dropboxes, guys. I usually use discussions, okay? Any questions about that, Kelly, that you may have for the class? Okay, perfect. Hopefully this is very clear. What will be the quiz on next Monday, Tamara? Good question. Next Monday, the question will be on objectives 13, 14, 15, and 16. And I'm very, very good at putting what the quiz is about on the quiz title, okay? Your course is very easy to follow along. It's very short. And I don't mind the interaction between you guys on the questions, on the quiz questions, especially the ones I put up. I don't mind. I really want you guys to learn. Again, I told you guys, if you stick to Monday nights to do all this, you will be happy classmates. That way it gives you that room. What do you think about that, Kelly? The Monday night concept I try to tell everybody.
I like that. I like that a lot. Some structure and routine. It helps, especially when you work a full-time job or have a family, along with classes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope people do. Believe it or not, I've got some complaints about it. I don't know who would complain about it. I guess more people want more assignments, writing-wise, but I try to make it easier. I don't know. I try to make it very creative too and a little more interactive, but some people still, well, I can only try to adhere. And this is for everybody in the class, okay? Because they'll be watching this recording. You do not have to be part of the chat group at all. It's extra, but I think people see it as a benefit, especially being able to speak to their classmates. And if you see more discussions here, people are talking about the course, they're talking about things that have related to the class. Thank you so much, class, for speaking on the chat group about the class. Some people go off tangents, which is okay for a little bit, not too long, but to keep it on topic, right? All right, Kelly?
Yes.
Absolutely. So then now that you see that, we spoke about that. Keep an eye on the midterm coming up soon. Grades will be out soon. That's what I'm planning to do this week. And we can go ahead and start on objective 13. Remember, guys out there doing this discussion through right now live, make sure you put some good comments. Objective 13, monitoring and managing the solution. Identify key variables. That's really important. When you're thinking of solutions, right, Kelly? You think of the variables, right?
You do.
In this case, in your dentist industry, you may think that insurance is one of the variables, right? For the customers, the clients.
It is.
So when a dentist may suggest a specific root canal, maybe they need to understand that some insurances may cover, may not, right?
That's right.
So that's a decision that you try to make with that. So then number 2 is select an appropriate level of monitoring. Have you ever heard of a helicopter parent, Kelly?
I have.
You have? Okay. Well, I try not to be, and I've seen some people that are not. What's the helicopter parenting term for business that you hear a lot?
Where people try to micromanage everything.
Micromanager. Very good, Kelly. Micromanager. So in the home, it's called helicopter parenting, and out there it's called micromanager, right? The leadership theory term is actually called management by exception, and you'll see that active, meaning that your leadership ability is always to be super active, and it's not great in extreme levels. It's actually very harmful. So this is important. Make sure you have appropriate level of monitoring. What's the opposite of a person that's so micromanager? What's the opposite of that?
They don't manage at all.
They're laissez-faire. That's the other term they use. It's just right. So you can see both extremes are very harmful. So they really don't help. Involve others on the process. There's a lot of people that make solutions. They never get to ask what people think. So let me ask you. So do you think it's a good idea to ask the students how the class is going?
Yes.
Yeah, and it goes along with involve the students in the process, right, of this course. So, and I hope that means that you guys feel like you have some tailor into this course, because it's important, especially you changing fields. I'm hoping I can give you some concept on how to use this book towards your future career, right? So let's see. Stefania says, I think involving the people, the situations effect is an important part of the process so they know what to expect from any changes. Absolutely. Absolutely, Stephanie. So be persistent. What item do you feel, Kelly, you've been the most persistent in your life?
The most persistent?
Yeah, a moment in your life where you were very persistent.
Just trying to get ahead, you know, to keep up with things, to not feel that I'm behind, whatever it may be, with my finances, with my learning, with my career, just trying to stay ahead.
Well, good, because I thought you were going to say tonight. You were persistent. And I was very proud of you because there's a lot of people that come to me with and let me tell you, it's really funny. It's called the technology excuse. So believe it or not, you could put blame and excuse on technology easy because people know that sometimes it falters. But instead, you found the solution, not the excuse behind the technology. So congratulations. I think that was a perfect example today of that part. Objective 13, number 4, be persistent, right? And make corrections promptly. This is something that people don't take time to do. As they do things in life, they kind of just, managers, they stick to a parameter and they want to do things the same way over and over and over, and things change. Situations change. So you have to not just monitor, but make the corrections. So in this case, you're going through your college career and you feel like, hey, you want to get A's, but you got to maybe correct also so you can get some learning. You know, there's always something to correct, right? So absolutely. Let me ask you this. On the page 35, do you see that pyramid there on close monitoring, regular monitoring, and occasional monitoring?
I do.
Okay, that's a very good pyramid. And you know what's funny is education tends to use pyramids, like Maslow's theory, like Bloom's taxonomy. It's always a pyramid. For some reason, it goes back to a pyramid. So I just wanted to point that out. There's always some pyramid you have to learn, right? As long as it's not a pyramid scheme. Right, so let's see. Jake Guajardo says, constructive criticism is also beneficial. You learn from mistakes, but only if you know where you messed up. That's right, Jake. If you don't know where you messed up or where you made the error, it's hard to correct. So I do think that was a good comment there for number 5, objective 13. Let's go to objective 14. Verifying the solution. Okay. Define success. So I asked you before we started, Kelly, what's your end goal? And you defined it for me, right?
Yes.
Do you feel like defining your end goal helps when you're doing things?
It always helps.
Good.
It gives you direction. It keeps your focus if you go back to it.
Got you. Okay, great. It's hard to find things in life that don't have direction. And if you feel like you're lacking direction, class, make sure you question yourself. Remember, questioning yourself is how you're going to find that direction. I find it, believe it or not, Kelly, I find it where most people lack direction year-wise is from 18 all the way to about 20 for some reason. If people like that age group, I've realized people don't tend to think direction, but it's so important, right? Every age. Absolutely. So and that's something. Define success. So you got the direction there. Number 2, test your solution. You have a worst case scenario always. What did you plan to do this weekend, Kelly?
This coming up weekend?
Yes. Homework. Got it. So wow, you must be busy. Hopefully not too caught up in homework that we're doing here, but obviously, what's your worst case scenario if you can't get to homework? When would you do that homework?
In the night or early in the morning during the week. Whenever I find the time, I try and block it in there somehow.
Right. So then you put in your head, I have a worst case scenario that if I can't get to this homework from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., I have to do it at 9 p.m. You see, that's your worst case scenario. So you like make and then you also think in the future, like, hey, worst case scenario is that I don't get to my position at certain time, so you try to think the worst case scenario so the way it becomes a floor to your plan, right? Really important to always think about that worst case scenario. That keyword's very important. And then they say, same here, I'm eating and breathing homework right now. That's what Tamara says. Hey, good. You guys should get together and get a little study break, right? Where does most of the homework come from, Kelly? What's most of your homework come from?
Right now, it's a computer class, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any interaction other than D2L with the instructor.
I see.
You're given your assignments at the beginning of the week, and then you don't hear anything back except through Gradebook. So really, and there's a lot of reading. There's the coursework, CourseMate. It's a lot of class.
Wow. It's a programming class, right?
Yes.
I want you to know this, and you can use your book to understand this. The culture of a program instructor is not to be interactive. So remember that.
Working.
It's just straight hands-on, put in. And this is, I hope you realize, Kelly, don't let that discourage you towards your future goals. It's just, you're going through all the fields of knowledge for business, and programming happens to be one of them. Does it mean you're going to be a programmer? No, but you just got to get through it. You know, that's the truth. A lot of people, let me tell you this, say, you got to do what you love. Well, yes, but at the same time, you got to do what you don't like, because you got to just bear through it, because that's what life is, love and what you don't like, right?
That's it.
So you're doing a good job. You guys too, Tamara, keep doing a good job. Keep doing your homework. Some professors love homework. They just love, let me give you 50 pieces of items. It's how they got through school. I'm more the interactive professor, but guess what, guys? I still get complaints from the people that want to do the homework. So I don't get it. What can I say, you know? So avoid the problem in the future. That'd be nice. If you made a problem, right? Try to learn from it. Because there's a lot of people that have the same problems over and over and over again. So just that, don't forget that whole definition of insanity. It is said that Einstein said it. I don't know. Maybe fake news. But that definition is definitely true. Don't keep doing the same problems. And learn. Oh, go ahead.
Definitely make your mistake a lesson, because it turns into a problem if you never learn a lesson from the mistake.
Wow, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It turns into a problem. So it could be a lesson if you're dealing with it, but the second time around, it's probably not a lesson. It's now more like an issue, right? A problem. It keeps rising, right? So very good. Look what your book is telling you. You could grab your book, and this could be a self-help book, by the way. It really could be. And then that was number 4. Perfect. Thank you. And then number 5, what do you think of that, Kelly?
Take credit for your success.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good to take credit, but you don't need to be boastful.
Of course. Funny enough, there is rarely anything that extremism helps you with, right? Being boastful doesn't help. Don't taking enough credit for yourself doesn't help either. You know, really the middle road is the way to go on most subjects. I'm not going to say all subjects, but the middle road. There's something about the middle road, though. It's also the boring road. It doesn't catch attention, right? This is why our president doesn't use the middle road. catches your attention. So remember that, guys. Goods and bads to everything. So that was objective 14. If anyone needs to take business computer applications, Professor Priscilla Smith has a good class. Oh, great. We got a reference. Good. Hopefully somewhere out there, if anybody needs to take a good decisions class, Professor Fuentes would go, wow, that'd be great, right? I could only wish. Learn from your success, take credit, and share. I gotta tell you this, Altavia. I believe that most, and not to speak on gender biases, but most women tend not to take credit for their success, and most men take too much credit for their success. And if you crisscross them, that's definitely what happens. So I see that in the workplace a lot. So both positive and negative feedback. Okay, absolutely. So then let's go to objective 16, developing ethical solutions. Having a balance between pride and being humble, Stephania. Okay, yeah, that's very good. Humble and have pride. Again, the balance is what gets you a good approach. And even in sports, you know, you go to football, it's offense and defense that gives you a good game, right? Not just one or the other. Rarely has balance failed. I don't know, you know, maybe one opportunity. The only thing I can think where balance is kind of, you know, off is in Switzerland, where they just celebrate neutrality, and it gets a little boring, right? But overall balance is definitely a good thing. Develop ethical solutions. When you think the word ethics, what do you think, Kelly?
Doing what's right.
Okay.
Not be what the law is, but just doing what's right. Do unto others as you'll have them do unto you.
Okay. One more thing. I apologize. I think we still need objective 15. I'm objective 15, right?
Yes.
Using adaptive. That's the one I skipped over. So let me get back to that, actually. Consider when to use adaptive techniques. So adaptive techniques is when there's you try to learn tactics. The difference between tactics and strategies is that a tactic is if you go to sleep early, you'll have a better night's sleep. That's a tactic because it works in every way. A strategy is specific to that occasion. So if you go to sleep in your bedroom because, you know, at a certain time, you'll wake up for that test. You see that it's more specific to that situation. But when you have a tactic, it doesn't fall for everything, right?
Yes.
So if you're trying to be in New Orleans at 6 a.m., going to sleep early at 6 p.m. may falter you because now you're missing the point. You should have driven overnight. You see how that tactic didn't work there? You have to adapt. Okay. So good. You tend to come to college, Kelly, to learn tactics. That's the thing I tell people. You learn tactics, which is one size fits all. But what's hard to teach in college is adaptive techniques to adapt to something new. Okay, it's just very hard because it's so specific. It's hard to learn strategies. That's what I tell people. You learn tactics, not strategies in college, guys. Okay, that's the one thing. If you want to write on the board of your life, your business life, then it'll make sense. This is why people get so upset at business college because they're like, well, it didn't really make me any money. That's not the point. The point was for you to learn these tactics and adapt them to you, right? So that's what they're saying. Adapt and use adaptive techniques. Hey, look at number 2. Manage by exception. Remember we spoke about that?
Yes.
And again, that's a theory. There's a theory in leadership, which means that it's been tested. And all that means is customize the management. Okay? Customize the management. Do you have any kids, Kelly?
I do have an 18-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow. What does she do?
She's a senior at Montgomery High School.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. You know, one thing, I had a friend that just had a kid last Friday, actually. And I told him, I was like, listen, a lot of people think you're having a baby, but really what you're having is a unique person. So I told him, you didn't really have a baby, you had an Aiden. And now you have to figure that out, right? Because it's all very different. It's absolutely very different. So it's almost like your mom didn't have baby, you had a Kelly. So, and then you adapt to those strategies, specific strategies to that kid. So you absolutely know, since you're raising a senior high school, congratulations. What do you think you did differently with her parenting as a manager?
I'd let her make more decisions.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. You know, when I grew up, kids were meant to be seen, not heard. And it was important to hear her, to listen to what she had to say, because it's what you said. She's not a mini-me. She's a person, and her personality may be different than mine. She does things different. She's her own person. I've let her be a person.
Well, congratulations. You definitely taken what the book said to the word. Absolutely. And see, again, the tactic is managed by exception. but then you took it to more strategy adapted to yourself. So congratulations, it's very good. And let me tell you, I have a daughter. I have two daughters. One daughter, you know, my wife is such a giver, and it's like, I don't understand why this daughter doesn't like to give so much. And I'm like, well, listen, not everybody's a giver. Some people are takers. You got to teach them how to give, right? And some givers, you got to teach them how to take. So it just depends on the person. So if you can think that everybody's unique, you'll be all right. So Stephanie says, managing by exception is putting your priorities straight and taking care of the most significant issues. Reminds me of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Very good. I love Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it definitely comes together in business school as well. Stagger your decisions. So when you make decisions, you don't want to come in at once. You want to stagger them, right? And with time too. Maybe I'll make my decision what we're going to do this weekend on Friday, because a little closer to the weather time, right? As opposed to right now when there's 4 or 5 days in between to decide, okay? And here's another investment word, hedge. Hedge your bets. And what that means is, you know, try to make sure in your decision that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you put some in a little bit somewhere else. Sometimes it doesn't help you that you did it all and you made that decision and it just didn't work out, right? Good. How about number 5, Kelly?
Delay or defer a solution.
What do you think about that? Is that a good idea?
I think it's a really good idea. Sometimes there's an old saying to cool off. It's the same thing with the decision. Give yourself some time to reflect on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Think it over, right? Sleep on it.
That's it. Yeah. Because things can change. Something else can come up. Something you didn't think of at the moment may come to your mind later.
Right. That's right.
You know, somebody you needed their opinion, they've come to you. It's good to, sometimes you have to make a decision on the spot, but if you don't have to, it's better to reflect before you make the decision if it's not needed at that moment. Okay,
perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you guys, who's out there, you got some of you should definitely put in some comments about the next objective, because the last one. But overall, delaying a solution, delaying a decision is a decision in itself. So it's not necessarily good to say, you know, I'll think about it later, always. But sometimes that's the best course of action. Okay. So who do you think decides if you made a good decision or not?
Who decides?
Yeah, like
we do, but outside forces can influence us.
Right. Outcomes. I think it comes out to outcomes. Like I really believe that if you think of life as not good and bad, just outcomes. You know, hey, if you don't go to college, you may have a difficult outcome getting income, right? It's not that not getting income is bad. It's just that you're not gonna have it. That's all it is. Some people don't mind it. So some people want to, yeah, it sounds funny, but some people don't. Some people are like, hey, I have a simple life. That's not necessarily good or bad. It's hard to take it that way. I am in that school of try to bring things out of morality and into reason. And this book tries to do that for you, okay? Yes, delaying your decision was a good one, but what's good or bad? It's more like delaying your decision gave you the outcome, gave you a little more time to think about it. But you also missed an opportunity. You see, that's the other go back and forth, right? So I see a shout out here. Whenever you rush, you're liable to making wrong decisions. Taking time and researching and thinking things out is always the right way to go. Yes, Tyrone, absolutely. And again, try to judge your decisions from here on out. For everybody in the class, guys, if you can remember Professor Puente, this whole week, try to judge your decision. We make decisions a lot. We really do. We wake up, we probably make about 30 plus decisions a day. Try to judge it. You know, what did I eat today? What's my outcome there of what I ate today, right? And try not to see it as good and bad, but try to see the absolute outcome. Okay. And then we go into developing ethical solutions. The last objective, you told me what you thought about ethics. Perfect. My idea of ethics, and again, you guys could use it or not in your life, is that it's not necessarily about what's right or wrong, but more about what should be right and what should be wrong. And that should definitely changes it, because if right or wrong can change between values or not, between cultures, what should be right and wrong actually gives you a little more ideal, more closer to what it would be perfect, right? So overall, that's definitely important. So identify ethical issues. What is an ethical issue in the dentist industry that you see that may happen a lot in dentistry?
And ethical, it would be whether or not the person can pay. You know what they need, and you have to go based off essentially what they can pay or their insurance covers.
That's good. That's very good, by the way, Kelly. What you just did was, what should be right will be whether or not the person could pay. And necessarily, it's not sometimes. Sometimes in the dentist industry, people get recommendations based on what income comes into the dentist or the dentist company, right? The dentistry. And that's important to understand, because people, if you could do something and you don't put cost in mind, that takes out a variable that, one of the first objective that is really important, right? One of the things I've said is that I really appreciate Michelle Obama worrying about what kids should eat, okay? But if we made healthy food cheaper, it would actually go a longer way. Absolutely go a longer way. Because now it's not that we should be healthy, but we can actually be healthy. Most of the population can get there, right? Pamela says making decisions also involves accepting consequences of those decisions. Yes, Pamela, those are the outcomes. I try to avoid the word consequence. Do you know why, Kelly?
Well, why?
Because it has a negative connotation. Remember, I try not to go good or bad. I try to give you an outcome. So yes, drinking and driving gives you an outcome, which is really, really bad for some people. And that outcome could not help you or not, but it just has that outcome. You see, if you see everything as this neutral outcome, then you start to make decisions not based on gut intuition, which is good and bad, but more in just overall effectiveness, which the book has this word that we're going to discuss later on, effectiveness, right? Compare costs and benefits. We spoke about that right when you said about dentistry. The cost of a root canal is this, and the benefit will be that you don't have that nerve to feel, right? Some people might not mind about the nerve, even though you should probably get it if you need one, right? But you compare it up and down on what the cost. I guess for you probably compare the cost of college, right? Yeah, and it give you a benefit, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, Kelly. Well, then that's perfect. Absolutely do. Consider other people. Does anybody out there not consider other people? I guess the book is like, hey, you guys should definitely consider the people outside of you. Hopefully it's not a lesson for this class, but some of you guys will see that, right? Healthy food is more expensive than junk food. Yes, Tamara. Absolutely, and I wish it wasn't. Alma says, I had not thought about what should be right, should be wrong, but makes more sense to think about it that way. Yes, Alma, absolutely. It's ethics also comes in to the business aspect. So what should be right and wrong in dentistry, that's ethics. It's usually the ethical guidelines, right? Like the guidelines. What should be right and wrong in law. What should be right and wrong in medicine. So each industry has its own ethical standards. It has nothing to do with morality. It just has to do for the benefit of all. That's really and if you think philosophy, that's greater good, right? Serve broad interest, and that is definitely what we spoke about. Greater good, greater good. And there's a going back and forward, by the way. Greater good and lesser than two evils. Those are the two things you see in philosophy, and you see it in business. Should we do things according to what the greater good is, the mass population, or the lesser two evils? So what that means is the lesser to harm, outcomes. So that way you don't harm the individual. So that's another back and forth decision you see a lot, Kelly. And then the last one, I'll leave that for you. Absolutely. Do you see it? Number 5.
Be true to yourself.
What do you think about that?
I think if you can be true to yourself, it helps make your decisions easier. Your ownership is easier. You're more fulfilled. You're more involved with the decision making.
You're genuine, right? Absolutely genuine. So, and that's important because that's how you can make better decisions. When you're not genuine, that's when you have to kind of come up with another layer that you don't understand. So, but that's about it. Kelly, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
No quiz review because there's no quiz this week. Next week, please understand that these are the objectives we're going to speak about. Get a hold of the video, guys. If you haven't seen it, turn on the video. Please don't worry about you and the course and if something you're missing. I'm actually going to open up the quizzes very soon for anybody who missed out to just take the quiz. Again, I'm a person that tries to give you more emphasis on the lesson than, the grade will be there, It's just when you leave business, you have to understand you have to get these concepts because that's how it helps you, and that's it. You have a good night, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You too, Professor.
And you guys out there, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Good night.